Okay. Hi guys, so sorry about that. Was my mom. She keeps on interrupting me sometimes. She doesn't understand that I'm actually working and stuff like that. But so let's start again. So this is the coloring book of shadows. This is what I was talking about before I was interrupted. So let's start from where anyone else who wants to talk. Just get it. And we don't have anyone in chat yet. Okay. So this is the coloring book of shadows. It is out now in July. I know it's early, but that's what like I was reading before. So let's start from where we were. Let's do this again. So as I said before, it's a coloring book / spell book, and also information. You can see you can color in it. And there's even, you can even write your own spells in it. See, there's like pages. So, I'll start where we left off. So, and then you have your name, and then there's like this thing, really cool spells and stuff that Amy has put in here. Come away, O human child, to the waters in the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping, and you can't understand. That's by W.B. Yeats. That's by W.B. Yeats. It even says that when there's a little coloring, you can color in the ghosts with the little lantern and all, which is really neat. And then there's more coloring. And there's that. So you can do more coloring and you can put your name in there, stuff like that, or some words in there. And then you can put your name and put your name and title on the book where the fire hearses, and you can color in all the colors and legends and stuff. So it says this book belongs to, so you can say this book belongs to Drake the Vampire. I can put Drake the Vampire there and then color it in orange and stuff like that. And then she goes into a whole bunch of description stuff. So if you want to, let's just go into that, shall we? Death, darkness, this is called what lies beyond the veil. Death, darkness, the unknown. Whatever you fear or come to peace with it, death is inevitable. The fear of death change and ultimately the fear of death is often the cause of suffering. We cling to the familiar and fear at the unknown, yet the power of change lies not in the ending, but in the new beginning and possibility of transformation. You might have always felt a curiosity about death and mysteries of dark. As a living beings, we feel a deep emotional need to explore and celebrate death, mortality, in healthy, social, acceptable ways. That's why people around the world enjoy the festivals like Halloween, a spin-off of the Samhain tradition. When we discuss modern celebrations behind spectacular masks, costumes, and commercial setting, that these rituals still pay homage to your connections to either the dark side or the wheel of time. The standing veil in the doors of the spirit world in Catholic time is Celtic lore. This is not a linear process. It is a churning cycle. As a seasonal shift, we pass through an in-between or an endless space. The veil or door between our world and the spirit world stands abyss at birth and death, and in the time between times like dawn and death, the cusp of the shifting season in Samhain, an auspicious time to rest the veil. The singing of the veil is not just a time to contact spirits and work around the dead. It is also an opportunity to clear seeing your possibilities in life. Excuse me. Yes, the magic of the darkness. Yes, death can be serious, but death demands that we celebrate the life alongside it. Death gives us a glimpse of ourselves as part of something larger, more powerful, and and it shows us not what is possible, but what is important. We desire to know what is lies beyond the veil. We wish to glimpse into the other side, to what lies beyond the spirit world. Fascinates us, calls us as it did in ancient times, and that's true. A lot of us practice stuff because we want to know what's going on and stuff like that. Reincarnation and in my vampire lore and new stuff like that too. We call it the current. We are reborn and then we're born again and born again and born again and born again. To learn stuff we didn't learn in this life, we learn in the next life. While the fun in modern Halloween is planted firmly in the sacred ceremonies of Celtic lore, you can still celebrate the season as joyfully as you see fit. You can enjoy a happy Halloween and also see your Samhain together at the same time. Space between the dark and the light is within season. Although, maybe you discover that's what where the most memories and memories have it, where there's fun, the secular and the depths of mystical marriage. So, are you ready? Say yes. Go on, have a look beyond the veil in Samhain after all. And then she goes on, and then the next page is about the root of Samhain and Halloween stuff like that. So do you want to read some more, or should we play the game? I'll up to you guys. I was thinking I'll just read some more for you, and then we'll go on by Day by Daylight and stuff like that. Pronounced like Sa-win, So-win, or Sa-vin, although you might hear it pronounced in modern American English as Samhain. Samhain originates from the Celtic cycle of life, death, and the seasons known as the Wheel of the Year. The ancient Celtic spirit, their calendar into the opposite, has winter, or the dark half, the Samhain to Beltane, November to April. The Samhain, or the later half of Beltane to Samhain, May to October. Today we celebrate Samhain on October 31st, or during the first week of November in the Northern Hemisphere, or on May 1st in the Southern Hemisphere. Samhain was the last annual harvest festival of the Irish cultural and personal society, and so it represents the individual turn of life and death from crops, animals, to people. By observing these Samhain traditions, while celebrating and death seriously, the ancients carried other rituals of faith to survive through winter till the light half returns in spring. And she also has a coloring page in case you can color in. And as you see right there. So, and then go on to the next page. And then another coloring like for witch. I don't know if that's appropriate, but you can see naked witch on a broom. As we witches and vampires call it, skyclad. You see right there. And then there's this blessed Samhain on the bottom. And then we're back to where we were before, when I was reading before I got interrupted by my mom. So this is what we're going to read again. Do you want me to read again? I guess I can just read it again. Sorry, sir. Okay, so spell casting basics. This is spell casting basics 101, guys. So you don't have to take this seriously, but it's if you want to become a witch, a good witch, then you should practice these spells, these basics things. Okay, in the southern hemisphere, this is where we started. If you're in the southern hemisphere in a place like Australia, New Zealand, or in Southern Magic, South America, these are the couple of differences you need to note. The biggest difference is that seasonal shifts are opposite on this calendar year. So you'll feel the energy of Samhain around May 1st instead of 31st. That's why this book has come out earlier instead of on October 31st or September, like she does usually, because she's actually really seeing it for both the southern hemisphere and in the northern in our hemisphere. And it's actually, if you want to know the price of the book, it's actually $22, and it's not that bad. It's a really good deal, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to do. Biggest difference is that seasonal shifts are opposite on the calendar year, so you'll feel the energy of Samhain around May 1st and October 1st. The other differences to note are elemental and directional. Southern hither spinning and circle casting will go, sunwise according to the south. Counterclockwise for evoking, drawing in, clockwise for vanishing, letting go. North and south elements are also typically swap themselves in hither next year. North equals fire, south equals earth. So it's basically the opposite of what we do here, just do it in the opposite way. Okay, the secret of spells. The secret of powerful spells is in you. Your feeling and vibration is in alignment with your true storage of self. A higher power is what makes spells work. The secret is in having the right ingredients and doing all the steps in the protected order. It is in your ability to focus your intent and use your feelings, mind, and souls to call what you want and harness the energy of earth, plants, stars, moons, planets, and whatever other creative forces of life you like to make things happen. So, and then there's this thing that I just read from you. See, and she also has coloring. You can color in again. And then we go on to breaking the rules. The first rule is to throw out any other rules. That's right. A lot of witches say that there's threefold rule, but that's not for every. That's only for the Wiccans. I'm not a Wiccan myself, so I don't practice this threefold rule. But you should respect everybody else's beliefs and stuff like that. So do not. If you want to curse someone, that's fine. Make sure you're doing it the right way and stuff like that. I'm a hex witch and I'm a vampire, so I'm a chaos witch actually, and I'm a vampire. That's what I meant to say. So practice what you preach. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Using tools, your feelings and vibrations are what make the magic, not the tools. Exact words of sequences, you can cast amazing spells for free with no tools at all. You can cast an elaborate spell that yields no result. That said, tools like herbs, orbs, crystals, and can be powerful when using your spells. Just don't feel persuaded or discouraged if you don't have much to start. Keep your magic straightforward and powerful. The right tools and ingredients will come. And then there's, of course, as below, still below. Tools, ingredients, and symbols are based on the magical theory of sympathetic magic and consequences you might either face as above, still below, which means the spiritual qualities of objects are passed down to earth. The sympathetic magic, or that equals that. Like how a figure of a line represents the power, but it's not an actual line. Yeah, if you see in tarot cards, there's always a line for strength. That means it's not actually a line. It just means strength. Your inner strength, your inner line, so to speak. Like in Leo line. Start by following lists, charts, and spells to get a feel for what others use, and then you begin to discover your own man angel symbol and correspondence. And then when you go into permission, spellbooks are like guidelines. They should be modified, simplified, or embellished to your liking. That is a very important thing. You don't have to do exactly. If you find a spell you like, you don't have to do it exactly like you wanted to do it. It can be done any way you want. Okay. And then we go on to, they should be modified, simplified, and also like liking. And don't degrade your magic by calling it lazy. Keeping your witchcraft simple is okay. Go ahead, you have permission. Also, it's enough comprehensive to see how you can use the most exotic stuff in your spell. Hooray, it's about finding your personal power and style. And I showed you the coloring, you can do it there. And then we go on to more stuff. And we go into the spellcasting outline. I don't think I'm going to read all of it to you. I'll just show you some coloring stuff. You can go into that unless you don't want me to read it for it to you. Also, by the way, I'll put up my I should put my thing here in chat for you, so you know the days I'm working. This is the days I'm working again. On here. Those are the days I'm working right there, but I'll be streaming, guys. And on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to be working on my other job. So we're on here, as you can see. And if you want me to read it, I'll read a little bit for you. Okay, if you're doing a written spell, read it several times to get familiar with it. Decide if there's anything you're substitute or change. If you're writing your own spell, enjoy the process and mystery of seeing the message and them seeing it come together. Gather all the items you'll be using, if any, and plan out space and time you use this spell. Spells can be impromptu, so precision can be quick and counter if you like. That basically means to be creative. It doesn't have to be exact the way the part that is written, or read it in the book. You can change it to make your own liking, so it works for you and not just for that person who wrote the spell. I did that in the beginning of when I started doing spells and stuff. I have a whole huge binder full of spells that I got from the internet and from books and stuff that are written down. But over time, I changed my spells to work for me and stuff like that. Okay, so if you're a witch, you probably know. If you're a witch, you probably know how to cast a circle thing. If not, I'll read it all to you guys. But here it is. A circle is a contractor to collect the energy of the spell. Circles are also protected with a circle of white light of lightning you. Okay, I don't think I need to read all of this for you guys, do I? I'll just show you some of the coloring. Calling the circles. A circle is a container to collect the energy of your spell. Circles are also protected with a circle of white light elevating your face and spells at the highest elevation, cleaning out any negativity you might get in the way before you begin. Calling the chorus is done to get the universal energy of the elements. Following. Incense is typically burned at the same time to purify the area energy. I don't have any incense, so if you don't have any incense in the house, or you can't do it, I usually clap my hands in the four corners. That is just as well, works as well, and banishes all the negative energy in the room. Just clap your hands and say, I banish all negative energy from this room. I banish all negative energy from this room. I banish all negative energy from this room, and that should work for you. If you never cast a circle, try it. Okay, so we did that. Grounding and centering. Okay, that is very important to ground the center after you meditate and stuff like that. I can show you how to ground and center. I have my own ways to ground. I stand up, and then I close my eyes and imagine a serpent at the bottom of my spine, and then it springs out from my head, and it comes out of my head, and then the energy comes down to my spine and stuff like that. I'll show you. You go like this, guys. You stand up with your hands up like this, and you close your eyes and imagine this energy coming down from the sky down from your spine and into the earth. Or you can do the basic way, which is just standing down and then grounding yourself and putting your hands onto your earth, imagining all the energy and going that way. It is important to ground yourself. Okay. And raising energy is also a really cool thing to do. Raising energy, like she said, I'll read to you here. The point of raising energy is to channel the universe, magical forces you tap into basic steps. So, raising energy is fun. You can sing, dance, chant, meditate, or do breath work. You want to do it through something that feels natural, so you can feel ready to get into it and lose yourself. A good way to start your chant. Yeah, there's different chants you can do. I do raise energy by going on, or if you don't want to do it that way, there's this. Listen to a good musical beat like heavy metal or something like that. Boom, 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 boom. That's one. Okay, so a good way to start chant along the roof of your mouth to vibrate. So, and the vibrating changes up the energy in your mind, the breath, and simply that's a powerful technique. Powerful people, whenever you feel at the highest, don't go too far away when you start to chakra. Invoke a deity or a creative source. If you like to invoke a deity or the highest self to help raise energy in your person, call upon them. Invoking deity is a way deeper way than the book. So research it more what cause to you. You have to be careful with raising deities because sometimes they're not deities, they're negative forces that can do. Okay, so then she goes on about a whole bunch of other stuff. And then there's more coloring, you can see it right there. And then after you've done all your thing, you close the circle. So I usually go counterclockwise after you close the circle. So instead of casting north thing, this you go from south, east, west, north, and they say I close this circle. I banish all forces from the. I'll read what she says so you get a better idea. If you call the quarters of a deity, let them know this spell has ended by calling them up again. Yeah, that's what I do. I thank the deities that I use for coming and doing and joining me in my cast, the spell or my chanting or something like that. I actually do call upon the 4-1. That's the kiss people, like you see my shirt here. I call on the demon, the elemental, and Ace Frehley and all them, the Beast King and stuff like that. There's also a really cool comic book out. If you go to the comic book store, you can find it. It's called the 401, I think it's called. This circle is closed. Close your circle, and then after you thank your deities, you close the circle. So you say close. Close your circle the opposite of how you opened it. Circle around the 3 times more colorful. Like I say, this circle is closed. We're doing so closing makes sense to finish your spell. Don't be messy with your and then it's a cleanup. Don't be messy with your magic. Put them all the way on your spell. That's right. After you've done your spell, put everything away. Put your tarot cards away. Put your things away on your altar, like your wand or your staff or whatever you're using. Put your orb away, or if you bring your sky clad, put them clothes back on, of course. And then that's it. And remember to act in accord. That's right. Be respectful to all the deities and stuff like that. They are here to help you, and if you don't, you're respectful, then they won't help you. Okay, and it says once you cast your spell, you've got to take action. You can cast the spell, you become best-selling author, but if you never write a book, that's right. After you write your spell for what you want, you have to do some actions towards it. You cannot just totally come like that. A spell is not a wish. It doesn't work that way. You have to show the deities or the forces that you asked for help, that you actually want the spell to work, that you actually want this. But if you want money, you should start doing something showing the deities that you actually want money to come. Or if you want a good job, go out and look for that job, and then they'll help you towards that job. And then also look for signs. That's right. Like look for signs, like a rabbit or something in the air, or look for something that helps you do it. Okay, and then we start in the coloring. Some more coloring. What do you think? Isn't it cool, eh? And then we have some more coloring. And then the new chapter about Legends of Lothlorien. And then we have another chant from another famous quote from another famous author. We all know this one, right? Double, double, toil and trouble. Fire, burn, cold, and bother from Shakespeare and Macbeth. One of my favorites. And then we go into some different kinds of witches. What the witch, what she does. The witch. This is about the witch, about where the name of the witch came from. Irish Celtic and European witchcraft traditions are the major roots of modern Samhain and Halloween. But willing or not, nearly all cultures are revere or celebrate death or spirits such as Samhain, voodoo, Senator, and all manner of folklore and the Christian image of the devil or woman into the symbolism and lore of modern season. That's right. The Christian witch is not the way that we witches are actually are. That's just them. I don't have anything against you Christians. It's just that sometimes you make things the way they know or they are, which is really I don't understand because you in your Bible it says that you should love one and respect each other, but sometimes you don't do that. I've seen it a lot on TikTok. It's horrible. Some of the hatred toward other people. I mean, there's so many transphobes on there. Like I know some transphobic people, transgenders on there, and there's all the kind of transphobe thing. You're not a girl, you're a man still. And obviously, if you look at them, they are on. They're really pretty and stuff like that, and I have no qualms with dealing with them like that. Okay, Catholics are coped and women with a pointy hat called and brim, and the most intimate figure of Helens. In the pre-Christian pagan days, the witch symbolized the crone gods and wise old woman that could see beyond the veil between death and life and death. Although identifying of the witch was twisted and demonized to that of a mad woman, the lore shows that true-hearted witch did not die. The power which only grew stronger in time, and now hundreds of years later, crone is reclaiming her true identity as a wise healer and creator of life and magic. Okay. The cauldron hat and the broom. The witch broom, cauldron, hearth, and hat represent circular objects, household items transforming into objects, great spiritual power, and used with attention, will, and ritual in everyday items. The cauldron symbolizes a container of life and death, akin to a little girl or womb. Its stirring evokes an eventual return and passage through the spiritual life and death rebirth. The council hat, the cone of power, calls to the divine and higher realm, channeling what is above down to the mirror to from below. It's not an evil thing. It's a witchy thing. And the witch's broom bosom, pronounced besom, we don't fly in brooms. That's just bullshit. Pardon my French. And the witch's broom, pronounced besom, represents sweeping and controlling of the energy. That's right. We use our broom as like the incense or something. I forget the other thing. We use it to sweep our negative forces out of our elements and houses and stuff like that. Control the energy. With a simple broom, the witch can fly between dimensions, sweeping away the last autumn leaves, the dust of life, a remnant of the living in the world as she transcends through the unknown and becoming one with the realm of spirits. And then there's also another coloring thing you can color. If you see that right there. And then we have another coloring thing for male witches. See, that's right. Well, not just witches aren't just female, they're males too. As you can see, I'm a male. And then another blank page for you to write in or draw in. Okay. And then she goes on to more stuff about fairies and spirits. In ancient times, the sending veil might mean a visit from unknown creatures like ghosts, goblins, and fairy folk. It might even mean friendly visits from these loved ones or ancestors. Many of the creepy tales of the creatures from ancient times are alive and well in modern folklore. The Headless Horseman is a spin-off of the Norse imp called the Dulan. You saw the Dulan carrying his own head. He was foretelling of someone's death to come, perhaps even yours. The wild hunt comes from the legend that the fairylands open and Samhain night hordes of dark, fey, and otherworldly creatures slip through the veil riding on horseback accompanied by black-burying dogs, skeletons, winged spooks, and other cryptids on the night. Their goal is to work havoc on villagers and kidnap humans and you better stay out of their way or they'll force you to join their wild hunt for eternity. One of my favorite versions of the wild hunt is in this book called I forget the name, but I'll put it out for you later. Masked jack-o'-lanterns and trick-or-treaters. So how did one such avoid terrors on Samhain? Ancient people used to dress up as scary masks and robes to frighten off fairies and evil spirits. Jack-o'-lanterns, or shadow-lanterns as some people call them. Jack-o'-lanterns, torch-lit prohibitions, and bonfires all stem from Samhain protection rituals, such as lighting torches at the borders of your property and parading in costume while warding from malicious fairies and unwanted spirits in the village. The earliest jack-o'-lanterns were carried from turnips, and many have carried coals until light and no fires. The origins of trick-or-treating can also be found in the Samhain lore. Legend has it that children carried ground or turned lanterns door to door asking for treats and coins to exchange from prayers and songs. It was considered unlucky to refuse the Halloween trick-or-treat prank. Mom, no! Close the door. Sorry, my mom's trying to get in behind me. The Halloween trick-or-treat prank from the ancient custom of Samhain nation was often blamed on fairies or spirits. Treats or offerings were left so fairies or unwanted spirits would leave the house alone. And there's also some coloring you can do. Again, see, more coloring. I have a lot to do. And then we have a really cool coloring. It looks like this. What do you think of that? Isn't that neat? And then we have another blank page you can color and put spells in or draw in. And then we go on to the Deities of Samhain. Check out the Deities of Samhain. I pull some of these. Working with deities is not a requirement for your Samhain rituals, but it can be a fascinating experience and practice if a call is to you. You may also prefer to work with ancient spirits or pursue other close forms of spirit work. You can evoke any goddess and gods of darkness, death, change, or rebirth, as same as you see fit. Depending on traditional and personal practice, there is no single god of Samhain. In traditional Judaism, Mom, out! Sorry. You can evoke. Okay, sorry, where were we? In the traditional Jewish theism, two deities typically a god or goddess, the sun god deities, using the crone to mourn, and so the figure of the crone or old witch still stands as the most recognized figure of the season. It is her season to show us the wisdom of clean and the traditional form of death. You can evoke different deities for the god or gods in Samhain rituals, and witches often use the first three blow in such a way. Seronis, of course, we all know Seronis, the horn god. The Celtic horn god often juxtaposed with stag, antlers, and human understanding the life forces of fertility, the power of the natural world, which of course turns everything from life to death and back to earth again. Sewardin, a Celtic crone whose name roughly translates to cauldron, is the goddess of the moon and also represents the power of life and death rebirth. Kelly, a crone goddess who appears in Druid Scottish Irish lore, means the veiled one. She is the goddess of earth, life, death, and rebirth. The story of Dagda, the god of life, and Morgan, goddess of death, amongst other things, another legendary Samhain tale. The pair of opposite meet on the riverbank of Samhain night and have a romantic encounter. This is the highest connection between life and death in Celtic lore, as they join in the cusp of the life hectic chasm of the year. take Greek goddess of the underworld. I wish I had to take myself. Greek goddess of the underworld is a modern favorite from the dark half of the year. She's a typical of the keys to life and the goddess of the crossroads of life and death. And then we have Persephone, the Greek goddess from Greek tale. You know Persephone, she you know the tale how she joined Hades in the underworld. Persephone was the Greek Passion queen of the underworld, living in my life in the year of the world, there was other half. And then we got more coloring and drawings. And then we go into the modern Samhain and Halloween. And then I think that's all we'll read, and then we'll go on to playing my game. When people with Celtic and Caribbean roots immigrated to the United States, their cultures came with them. The legends and customs of ancient Samhain morphed into the American tradition Halloween as we know it today. The celebration became less spiritual, and Christianity took the rims of rain and became more of a spectacular affair than the ritual ones. Costumes, masks, pranks, and trick-or-treating lost much of their prestige and spiritual process. Yet the roots of Samhain spirit and the witchery